So we start off immediately, we see the gigantic, beautiful view of Rhyme City, actually voiced by Bill Nighy right here in the background, and we can see all sorts of Pokemon floating around the entire world. I mean, this is just beautiful. We are looking at a live-action Pokemon feature film. Now, it is Detective Pikachu, so based on that game for the 3DS, but it has so many references. They treat it like Pokemon the movie. So you can see the Pidgey flying in the air, all kinds of different, Easter eggs. We even see Dodrio, and right there we see a very, very cute Charmander. Now, the look of these Pokemon, I mean, you can just see it in the background, right? The anime art style, like Victini right there in the back, or Wooper, those, they keep them from the old games, but they are transforming them into new CG kind of Pokemon looks. And I was wondering how they would do this, but the way that they are making Pokemon come to life through this trailer has been insane and amazing. Look at that Psyduck. Like, it looks exactly like what a duck would look like with bigger eyes. So they transform these Pokemon, but they still keep their cuteness and, all that kind of stuff. I really love that they take them to like a next level. And it's just so cool to see a movie version of Pokemon come to life this way, because the last real thing we had in theaters, in way of like a Nintendo film, was Super Mario Bros., which wasn't that good. So Ken Watanabe is here too, which is an awesome actor, and I'm so happy that he joined the cast as well. Right here we can see that this is like a pseudo kind of like new age tech kind of world, right? This is an alternate future. Lots of neon light in this city. There's a mist sign right there in the back. And if we move along just a little bit more, we can even see that this guy is just... his room is brimming with all sorts of cool posters that are tiny nods to this bigger Pokemon universe, and I'm for sure that this will grow into something so much more than just this film. They're setting up a universe here, so we can see a Blastoise poster right there in the top left. We can actually see a Rayquaza, right, a big poster right there, like a sticker or something. We can see Articuno versus Steelix, which is awesome. It's like a legendary, right? And right there's a championship with Charizard, and we'll see a little bit more. There's Dragonite, there's Hypno, all sorts of Easter eggs to other Pokemon. And he enters his room, and we can see a little bit more. It actually says Johto Sports Club, and we get a look at the Sinnoh Championship sign. Now, this is a really cool nod to the actual games, as, the Sinnoh Championship was something of a very big, setting for that entire game. It's actually the Lily of the Valley conference that was held there. And we can see that he's reminiscing about something. So could this be a little bit of a backstory about maybe his family? He is still looking for his dad. That's the entire thing. I love, by the way, that the font is basically the Pokemon font. So we get a quick look at this card, at this train card, but we take a bit of a closer look here and seeing that it's actually leaving Town, which is, there's no real... that's not a real place in Pokemon, but arriving at Rhyme City, which we know is the setting for, of course, Detective Pikachu, the game. As he puts that card away, he notices some sort of a sound. So he grabs the first thing comes to mind, a stapler, and we see what looks like maybe... is that a Pikachu? Like a real-life Pikachu? So he basically, equips himself with this thing, and there he sees it. This is what Pikachu will look like in the actual film. And I gotta be honest, this is really amazing to me. I mean, it's taken them years to do a Pokemon live action film, and now that we see it in action, yeah, the tech is there. We got the cute look, but we have it realistic, and what about that hat? And of course, it's being voiced by Ryan Reynolds, who is of course very famous for doing Green Lantern. No, I'm kidding. Very famous for doing Deadpool and a lot of cool rom-com stuff. And Pikachu is like, well, you don't understand me, but, just please, I'm gonna shock you if you're gonna hit me with that stapler, which I think is really cool. They are really pushing what they can do with this Pokemon brand in terms of how crass they can be. I mean, even Ryan Reynolds is saying, oh my god, in this trailer, which is something that would never happen in a text bubble in a Pokemon game. So I think that's really cool. They're kind of pushing it to a wider audience that way. And just the way the fur moves on Pikachu here is insane and amazing. Right here, that's all that it says, based on the worldwide phenomenon, and that's exactly what this is. It's the first feature film live action about Pokemon, and it looks the part. So this is really cool. He can actually understand Detective Pikachu. He can understand Ryan Reynolds. And he's like, I was so lonely, all these years. I couldn't talk to any other human being. There was just these Pokemon, and I don't really connect with them all that much. But I've been so lonely. And what I love is the detail. Even his lower lip is like this black kind of hue around it. So it's close to almost like a dog, not really a mouse, what it should be. And we have this really cool market town. And this is very close to something like Blade Runner, which I really love. Like, it's pretty adult, like the setting. And the Pokemon are being used in very smart ways. As you can see here, we see some Pachirisu on the roof. And right here, we can actually see a Charmander, and the Charmander is using its tail to kind of, light a flame for whatever's happening up in that pan. So they're, making, Pokemon Go kind of treats or something, and, he's just assisting his buddy over there, which I think is really cool, and I can't wait to see what other ways they use Pokemon creatively. Well, we can see a little bit more, a tiny tease of what else is in that world, as he's basically saying, well, you guys, you can understand this, right? This Pokemon is speaking English. And she's like, yeah, I can understand. And Pika Pika, that's very cute. So in the background, you actually see Tangela and then something, maybe foods or something. So Tangela is, of course, the Pokemon from the first generation, and it looks like a pasta or something. So maybe that's what it is, right? Now, as we move on with the trailer, we can actually see that Pikachu's like, well, you don't really understand me, so don't even try, right? Also, in the background, we can see these leaks, which is really fun, because that's, of course, the weapon of choice of Farfetch'd, so I would assume that that is a nod to that. And we see a little bit more of that background, and what I noticed was there's a big frog right there, and of course, it is Venusaur. Venusaur looks amazing right here. It almost looked like a human in a costume. I would imagine him being a lot bigger. And I thought it was Wigglytuff, but I'm not sure. I'll have to watch again. And right here, this is one of the emotional scenes from the film, right? In the trailer, I get a vibe that maybe Pikachu gives up being a detective, and we'll follow up a little bit more on this later. I mean, he looks so down right here, beaten up, maybe that car wreck explosion that happens in this trailer, this was right after, and maybe right after our heroes take quite a beating. I mean, returning back to the police station is also a big thing for our hero. Of course, his father is a police officer, so this is a very emotional moment right here. And I just love how Ryan Reynolds still sells it. I mean, it's Pokemon, but he's giving it. He's given it a lot. And what I think is happening here, this might be the moment before Detective Pikachu. So I don't think these shots are in order. He might be talking to people, trying to get them to understand him, right? This is where the car explosion actually happens, and where our hero tries to get on under the wreck. And, father's nowhere to be seen, so Detective Pikachu basically is looking through all these missing posters, and he's saying, well, your best shot at finding your father is through me. And what I think is really cool is there's a Pancham sign right there, Squirtle, and there's even some hints at like Hi-Hat, which is one of the areas from the games itself. And there's even Oak Apartments, which I thought was really cool. That's like where Squirtle was last seen. So that's great. That's like an Easter egg for like Gen 1. And we see a little bit more of Pikachu's look right here, which I totally love. And it's partner up with a legend, and that's the tagline for this entire film. This is one of my favorite shots. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful seeing them walk through this, lagoon kind of forest area, and we see all these Bulbasaur hopping around in the water, looking like frogs with a bulb on them, which they would look like if they were real, and of course this Morlul, and they actually glow, which is beautiful. And this is my favorite shot from the entire trailer, I think for a lot of people, but this is what Jigglypuff, like for everyone who plays Super Smash Bros., this is who you're playing with. This is Jigglypuff with the microphone from the anime, so there are lots of hints to that as well. And of course, where would you find Jigglypuff other than, a stingy bar, an espresso bar, and of course there's posters in the background for Machamp versus Primate, a battle, and there's even, some money that you can wager on that. And it's partner up with a legend, which is Pikachu, but another legend, I think, for the Pokemon franchise as a whole, and someone I expected to hop up on this trailer is Charizard, right? Also playable in Super Smash Bros., of course, and one of the big mainstays of Pokemon. We actually know that there is a big battle scene where Pikachu fights Charizard in a cage match, and I think this is really awesome, using flamethrower right there. And this is the big shot for a lot of people as well, because they are mostly taking stuff from Gen 1. I mean, that's one of the most recognizable ones, so of course. But there's Greninja here, right? And for the Smash fans, of course, yep, we get live-action Greninja, looking great, looking like a frog ninja, like the texture. But they are used as these bad guys in the film. Now, I don't want to give the plot away for Detective Pikachu, the game, because probably the movie's going to be, going into that story. But there's a very interesting story, including some awesome Pokemon. Now, before this shot zooms in a little bit more, you can actually see Pancham right there in the bottom. I just wanted to point that out. And of course, Squirtle is right there on the right. We can see another bird-like Pokemon that I've not yet identified, so put it down in the comments if you know who this is. But I thought it was really cool that these two Pokemon were missing, and basically the duo did their job and they found them. I mean, this battle scene, to me, I think that's either Victini or it could be Apom. And there's a possibility it could be Chimchar, I don't really know, but this is another battle scene where Pikachu fights another Pokemon in a building. So they have this big road trip. This actually looks like a road trip film, but with Pokemon. So, Ash, Misty, and Brock could have gotten a car, and driven around instead of walking all that way. And I think it's just really cool to have this Misty-like character that sort of tags along with the, she does play a character called Emilia Christie, which is basically the character from the game itself, too. Now, this is the moment that kind of follows after that sad police office story, which I think would be the moment where our protagonist is like, well, Pikachu, you're still a detective to me. Let's just do this. Like a big emotional moment, and I think that I really want this movie to sell it to me, because the sad moments in these like in these anime Pokemon movies have always sold it very well, and I think a live action one could do great too. And this is a big moment in the trailer, like the entire world collapses. I could think of one Pokemon that could do something as earth-shattering as this, right? Maybe someone from the originals? I don't know. That's just a hint for you guys. So I think this is a real fun sequence. Every trailer needs its extended, comedic part. This is where we see Pikachu questioning Mr. Mime, and I always envision Mr. Mime being sort of he kind of looks human, right? He has this skin tone, he has human eyes and a face, but he doesn't have a nose. This is perfect. This is exactly what I imagined him to look like, and he's basically saying shove it. So he's being really mean to Pikachu here as well. I think just the script writing and the presentation as a whole is really unexpected for Pokemon Company and Nintendo to sign off on, but I think that they had to evolve a little bit if we're using Pokemon terms. Now, it used Barrier right into Pikachu's face. I'm so sorry, Pikachu. And of course, it's played by Ryan Reynolds, which is awesome. Feels a little bit out of place still, but I think it can sell me on it. And this is I think this is the G&M building in the game where Greninjas are actually following Pikachu. So this is like an extended chase scene. Maybe it goes from the forest up into this building as well, using their water shurikens. Now, Justice Smith is playing our protagonist, and right there, we can actually see that Psyduck is in a bag and screaming his lungs out, and it's really cool because the camera actually goes right into the beak of Psyduck. Now, what's that move? Maybe that's a move of Psyduck, but I do believe that could be the other Pokemon I mentioned. And this is just the big ending shot, right? Charizard versus Pikachu, we know this because people have actually been shouting their names on a panel so that they can use the shouts for in-game, in-movie dialogue. But this is just amazing. Seeing a Pokemon live-action movie and starting it with Detective Pikachu is totally awesome. I would have thought that they would do a big Pokemon movie first, but they chose to just do this kind of thing, a spin-off. But I think it's the perfect way to kind of introduce a new world, introduce not Ash, Misty, and Brock, but just something new, and I really like it, and I think that there's room for so much more in that entire realm. I do believe that this is the start of Nintendo doing a lot more live-action stuff, and I'm so excited for it. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a blessing doing all of these for you guys. There is a comment question. Our previous comment question comes from Gamer12464 saying about Super Smash Bros. Story. From what I've seen from this lore, the series is Taboo took one hand to control, failed, and after the hand got free, that made Galeem see that they may be taken out pretty easy if they let the fighters go on longer, and thus Smash Ultimate. Master Hand? zzz, and then Taboo, basically Galeem. That's interesting. So that makes me think, could we maybe see like Smash Brothers live action? I want all these properties to have their own films and then combine into a big Smash Brothers tournament. How cool would that be? Anyways, of course, remember you can win this Super Smash Brothers Ultimate pin, and if you comment down below why you deserve that pin, you could win it and be our awesome Super Smash Brothers Ultimate pin winner. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, we have a Patreon. If you support us, then you get episodes early, you get to request your own videos to be made, and of course, you'll become a part of our family. And if you're not yet subscribed to Blocked Content, you can still do that. There's that red button saying subscribe, become a part of our family so you'll never miss our videos. And we do quite a lot of videos, so get ready for a ride. And this was Blocked Content for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, Blocked Content's always around the corner. See ya.